Hi everyone, welcome to the fourth webinar of a series of webinars conducted by TCS in lieu of the upcoming operational case study examinations happening in May 2023. My name is Nick and I'm the lead tutor and evaluator for OCS at TCS. So let's look at the session outcomes for tonight. So we'll be covering two main areas. First things first, I'm gonna take you through examiner's comments because you need to understand the mindset of the examiner, as well as it's better to understand what the examiner requests from you to get really good marks at this exam. And at the second part, as the second part of tonight's webinar, I'll be talking about what you need to do to develop confidence both before the exam as well as whilst attempting your real exam, because as per the CIMA examiner, confident students end up passing the exam comfortably. All right, so first things first, let's look at the examiner's comments. So the examiner gives you certain tips pertaining to students who prepare good answers. So good answers require relevance to the requirement. So when I was talking about answer planning technique, I hope you guys watched the third webinar where I explained the answer planning technique in depth. So in that, I said that before you start developing your answers, you need to understand the requirement 100%. Okay, so I said you need to allocate, when managing your time, you need to allocate something like 5 to 7 minutes to read through the scenario and understand the exact requirement, because if you do not understand the requirement properly, you cannot come up with an accurate answer. So your answer needs to be totally relevant to the requirement. If that is the case, you'd gain good marks. So the only way to achieve this is by sticking to the answer planning technique which we have highlighted so far. Then when providing answers, you need to show to the invigilator that you have an appropriate level of technical knowledge, as well as you know how to apply your knowledge to a specific scenario, or apply this knowledge to a real life business scenario. Okay, so again, I've highlighted these two areas in my previous webinars, because as I told you earlier, the OCS exam, out of the three case study examinations, the OCS exam is the toughest one. Why am I saying this? Because 90% of the time, the examiner will be checking your understanding about theoretical elements. So the examiner is checking your knowledge about technical areas pertaining to E1, P1, and F1, and a higher weightage is provided for P1 and F1. The most amount of weightage is provided for P1, and the second most amount of weightage is provided for F1, and the weightage provided for E1 is something like just 20 to 15%. So you need to know your P1 and F1 really well. If not, you cannot pass this exam. So you need to ensure that you possess the necessary amount of technical knowledge. If so, you would be in a position to gain really good marks at this exam. And on top of that, just because you know your theories, you cannot pass the examination, because as I've told you earlier within my earlier webinars, I've said that the examiner is trying to replicate a real life work environment. You are supposed to play the role of a finance officer who is located at the lowest level of the organization, who is located at the operational level. So, since the examiner tries to recreate a real life work environment, you have to apply your knowledge when apply your knowledge to in a practical sense when coming up with your answers. So I've explained all these things via the answer planning techniques which we have highlighted so far in webinar number 3. And on top of that, you know for a fact that we are conducting a set of master classes where we are taking you through the answers of all 5 mocks. So whilst explaining these answers, what we are doing is we are teaching you theory, thereby ensuring that you have an appropriate level of technical knowledge, as well as we are also teaching you how to apply this theory to a certain question or a certain business scenario. So these two areas, technical knowledge as well as application of this knowledge, is covered via our master classes. So if you attend the 5 master classes, then you'd gain an in-depth understanding about all theoretical elements and how these theoretical elements are tested, because within our 5 mocks, we have ensured that all syllabus areas are covered. So after you attempt the mocks and attend the master classes, you'd know how technical knowledge is tested and how you are supposed to apply your knowledge in a real life business environment. And you need to come up with well structured answers. So that's exactly why we highlighted an answer planning technique. So according to that, you are supposed to allocate 1/3 of your time towards answer planning. I highlighted these things in the third webinar. If you didn't attend it, or if you hadn't watched the recorded version of the webinar as yet, please log into our website and access the free content. Under the free content, you'd get your hands on um, the recorded version of the third webinar, as well as a document which highlights the answer planning technique. So you need to come up with well structured answers. Thereby, you need to adhere to the answer planning technique which we have highlighted so far. And when providing answers, you are not supposed to provide answers in single line sentences or in bullet points. Instead, you need to use paragraphs. When it comes to bringing in some type of an argument, you need to justify your argument. So it's you won't see many questions where you are supposed to come up with recommendations. The only area in which you are supposed to develop recommendations are pertaining to the recommendation of KPIs. We have covered a whole set of KPIs within our 5 mocks, covering all different types of KPIs which affects the sales teams as well as the dealers, because as you already know, Tracks Europe is involved with selling their tractors via dealers. So in order to keep track of the dealers, we need to come up with KPIs. We need to keep track of our sales staff members, as well as we have our own website. So in order to understand the functionality of our website, we have to come up with KPIs. Then we are dealing with a set of suppliers. In order to keep track of the performance of these suppliers, we need to stipulate KPIs. So in all these areas, whenever you are recommending a KPI, you need to back it up with appropriate justifications. So all these things you'd learn if you attempt our 5 mocks and attend the 5 master classes. Okay, so if you achieve all these things, you'd come up with a good answer. And before the exam, what are you supposed to do? You are supposed to study all areas of the syllabus. So as I told you earlier, you need to be really conversant about E1, P1 and F1 syllabuses, especially F1 and P1. So how are you supposed to achieve this? By attending the master classes, because as I told you earlier, via the master classes, we are teaching you theory as well as application in a practical sense. So you need not actually study all syllabus areas. If you attempt the 5 mock exams and attend the master classes, then you learn your theory. Okay. And you need to work on your skills pertaining to how to apply this knowledge to a scenario. Again, these are covered via the master classes, as I told you earlier. And if you are to prepare fully or carry out preparations successfully, you need to practice tasks. So that's exactly why throughout our webinar series, we have been telling you that it's of utmost importance that you practice 5 exam standard mock exams, and when practicing them, it's better to do it under simulated exam conditions, because you can't, just because you know your answer planning technique, or just because you have heard about the time management technique, you cannot implement it on the day of the exam. Instead, you have to keep practicing it. For instance, when you are attempting mock number 1, you would feel that according to our answer planning technique, we have said you are supposed to allocate 5 minutes to read the question and 20 minutes to come up with the answer plan. But when you try to do it for the first time, when you're attempting mock number 1, you'd figure out that it takes you about 40 minutes to come up with an answer plan. That's normal. Why? Because you are doing it for the first time. But when you keep practicing it from mock 3 onwards, you'd understand by yourself that you can stick to this answer planning technique. You can stick to this time management technique which we have highlighted. And if you do, you'd come up with high quality answers, well structured answers, and you'd end up providing complete answers, because at your exam, if you provide incomplete answers, chances of you passing the exam is extremely low. So the only way to overcome all these issues is to practice your mocks, because if you practice 5 mock exams, then you would know what type of shortcomings you need to actually avoid at your real exam. And most students, as I've told you earlier, they wait until the last 2 weeks or the last week prior to the exam, and since they do not have enough time, rather than attempting 5 mocks, they'll just attempt 2 or 3 mocks. So in such a context, you can't learn from your mistakes. You won't have enough time to evaluate your own answers and figure out where you go wrong, what your shortcomings are when it comes to attempting mock exams. So you need to practice mocks. I'm not saying this, it's the CIMA examiner who is asking you to do this. So it's of utmost importance that you practice tasks or practice mocks. And when practicing these mocks, you are supposed to type or write full answers. That's exactly what we have been suggesting you to do throughout these series of webinars. Use our exam platform, because if you invest on the premium package, you can attempt all 5 mock exams under real exam conditions via our mock exam platform or the learning management system, which had been developed to be akin to the Pearson VUE system you'd utilize when attempting your real mock at the exam, real exam rather. So it's better to practice your mocks under simulated exam conditions before walking into or before attempting your real mock. Okay. And during the exam, what are you supposed to do? Plan your answers. So if you stick to our answer planning technique, you would fulfill this. So the CIMA examiner who's asking you to do this, and I've taught you how to do it. You have to plan your answers, and the marker is under strict instructions to mark answers on their merits. So as I've told you earlier, within webinar number 3, the invigilators or the examiners or the markers are looking for quality. They would pick quality over quantity. Just because you provide lengthy answers, you cannot pass the exam. You need to ensure that you spend some time to plan your answers appropriately. You need to spend some time to ensure that all theoretical elements are highlighted within the answer. You need to ensure that we have applied these theoretical elements to the information provided within the question or as part of the scenario. And if you do this, you'd come up with a high quality answer, then you'd gain really good marks. All right, so looking at the marking criteria, 2 markers will allocate marks before the final mark is finalized. So why is CIMA doing this? To ensure that there is transparency when it comes to mark allocations. So once you're done with your paper, it will be sent to CIMA, and CIMA will redirect your paper to 2 individuals, 2 invigilators, and these invigilators will give marks separately, and these marks will be added together, and an average mark will determine your final score. Okay, and mark allocation for each subtask appears as a percentage under each requirement. So you would have seen this within the 3rd webinar, where I highlighted that under each subtask, there's a percentage provided that indicates how much marks are allocated for each subtask. So once you know the mark allocations, based on it, you are supposed to come up with an answer plan. So if there are 20 marks allocated for a certain subtask, then you know for a fact that you need to have 8 to 10 valid answer points within your answer. So when developing the answer plan, if you come up with 8 to 10 valid points, then you know that you have fulfilled the requirements, or your answer is aligned with the mark allocations. And once you have covered that, it's just a matter of expanding your answer plan. So you are supposed to watch the recorded version of webinar number 3, answering technique, if you missed out on it. And as I told you earlier, when providing marks are allocated based on merit. So the invigilators are going to look at quality or pick quality over quantity. All right. So that being said, let me remind you about what we offer, instantaneously. So what you can see is our web page, which is www.study@tcs.com. On the OCS page, and you can press on this button and access the free content. Oops, sorry. Yeah, you can access the free content by pressing on this button, and you can check out the sample material to get an understanding about the type of services we offer and the type of material we offer. And let me highlight about the 3 different packages which we are offering. First things first, let me talk about the essentials pack. So if you purchase the essentials pack, you would get your hands on the 4 recorded versions of the webinars which we have conducted, and you would get your hands on 5 mock exams with suggested answers. Please remember that these mock exams are exam standard, and on top of that, these mock exams are pre-seen relevant, and you'd get your hands on the 4 pre-seen analysis videos. And after you go through these 4 pre-seen analysis videos, you are in a position to gain an in-depth understanding about the pre-seen. You won't miss any of the points which we have highlighted within the annotated pre-seen, as well as a set of slides which we have prepared. So this package comes at £99, the essential pack, and the essential pack is relevant for students who are coming through the CIMA general route, and students who had aced their OTQ exams, students who have passed the OTQ exams, E1, P1, and F1 in one go. And if you have gotten really good marks, and on top of that, if you feel that you can work on your own without any type of tutor assistance, if you're comfortable with self-studies, then the essentials pack is relevant for you. Then looking at the value pack, you'd gain access to the 4 recorded versions of the webinars, the 5 mock exams with suggested answers, and you'd get your hands on the 4 pre-seen analysis videos. And on top of that, you'd have access to the annotated pre-seen. Okay, so let me show you what an annotated pre-seen looks like. So it's the same pre-seen which we have gotten, but we have come up with annotations, thereby summarizing the entire pre-seen in an understandable manner. So you need not read through the entire pre-seen. Instead, if you look at all these annotations, you are in a position to understand in depth, or gain an in-depth understanding about what type of information is highlighted within the pre-seen. And on top of that, as part of these annotations, will be suggesting probable exam scenarios which can be tested at your exam, because the examiner, CIMA examiner, usually provides some hints within the pre-seen document itself. So these probable exam scenarios are highlighted, and on top of that, any theoretical elements which are tested are also highlighted within these annotations. So once you go through this document, you'd have an in-depth understanding about the pre-seen. So and you'd get your hands on industry analysis cards. That's exactly what you can see in here. So as you can see, we are providing an overview into the industry. We'll be explaining about the competitive landscape, highlighting the industry trends, as well as providing you information about real-world companies. And these industry analysis slides are prepared considering real-life industry dynamics of your chosen industry. So this time's industry is based on tractor manufacturing. So we have highlighted the real life industry dynamics concerning the tractor manufacturing industry. And after you go through this set of slides, you'd gain an in-depth understanding about the industry, which is going to be extremely beneficial for you at the exam. And under the value pack, you'd get your hands on a set of financial analysis slides as well. So these are the type of financial analysis slides you'd get your hands on. So as you can see, we have evaluated all financial statements thoroughly, but kept all explanations simple, so that you can easily understand it. You need not work out any ratios or any numbers. We have done it for you. So the SOPL, the SOFP, as well as the statement of cash flows, all these things are evaluated, and a ratio analysis is also conducted, and all these ratios are explained in depth, thereby giving you an in-depth understanding about where the company stands in a financial sense. And that comes with the value pack, and you'd get your hands on a set of slides which will highlight top 10 likely issues which can be tested at your exam. You'd get your hands on the case study familiarization kit, and you'd have access to a live chat via Twilio, and you'd have access to theory recaps pertaining to E1, P1, and F1 related areas. So if you want to brush up your knowledge in your theory, then by referring to these theory recaps, you'd be in a position to fulfill your requirements. So the package is priced at £199. So if you opt for the value package, it's this is actually suitable for individuals who are coming through the CIMA general route, who had done their OTQ exams. But if you failed your OTQ exams, especially P1 and F1, or if you struggled with your OTQ exams, then you need some type of tutor assistance. So that's in such a context, it's best that you go for the value pack. And if you look at the premium package, it comes with all the material which comes under the value pack. On top of that, you'd get access to the LMS, or the mock exam platform, where all 5 mocks can be attempted under real exam conditions via our exam platform. So as per the CIMA examiner, it's prudent for you to attempt all mock exams under simulated exam conditions. So that's exactly what we are offering. So all 5 mock exams can be attempted via the mock exam platform if you go for the premium package, and you'd get professional marking and one-to-one feedback on 3 mocks, namely mocks 3, 4, and 5. So, as I've told you earlier, when, developing your answers, or when trying to replicate the answer planning and time management techniques we have taught you so far, in the first mock, you cannot achieve it. You'd run out of time. In the second mock, you'd see, or you'd feel the same discrepancies. You'd run out of time. You won't come up with proper answer plans. But once you have some sort of a practice in doing these things, from mock 3 onwards, you'd see an upward trend when it comes to your marks. So it's better to gain an in-depth understanding about where you stand as a student. That's exactly why you need to go through this one-to-one tutor feedback which we are offering. So let me show you the type of feedback you'd get. So as you can see, the entire set of answers are evaluated on a paragraph by paragraph basis. So in-depth evaluations are provided. I myself will be marking your paper, and at the very end, we provide mark allocations on a subtask by subtask basis, and we indicate a success rate as well, which highlights the areas in which, or the subtasks in which, you need to actually improve your answer. So if you look at the marks gained by the student, this student had gotten really good marks, 98.5 marks, thereby passing the exam. And actually speaking, the student at the real exam gained more than 90 marks as well, thereby passing the exam in the first sitting itself. So this student stuck to our study plan which we provided, and successfully passed the exam. And as you can see, once you receive the feedback, you can simply understand the areas in which you need to polish up your answers. So rather than trying to attempt the entire mock exam from the beginning until the end, you need to simply focus on task 2B, task 3A, and task 4A, because that's where this student has not gained good marks. So if when we are trying to overcome your issues, it's just a matter of focusing on the areas where you have not gained really good marks. So we have made your life simple and easy, and at the very end, we will be providing a set of general comments as well, which and via these general comments, we will be highlighting certain tips which you need to adhere to if you are to pass your exam, or if you are to increase your the quality of your answers. And via the premium package, you would get your hands on the answer plans of all 5 mocks. So I've shown you what an answer plan looks like in webinar number 3. So once you have access to these answer plans, it's as if you have a summary of the entire E1, P1, and F1 syllabus at your disposal. And on top of that, rather than going through pages and pages of suggested answers closer to the exam, you are simply supposed to refer to these answer plans, and in a jiffy you are in a position to understand theory, how theory had been applied to a real life business situation, so you can improve your theoretical knowledge as well as application skills. And on top of that, you are in a position to understand the structure of the answer by going through these answer plans. Okay, so these are study summaries which we are providing. After going through the answer plans, you can cover theory as well as application, and when covering theory, you will be covering the entire syllabus of E1, P1 and F1 related areas. And we'll be conducting 12 master classes. We have already done, we are already done with 2 master classes as at now. So you'd have access to these 12 master classes where all the suggested answers of all 5 mocks are explained in depth whilst teaching you theory as well as application. And you'd have access to 7 tutor-led weekly webinars and workshops. So if you are just checking out our free content, this is the last webinar which we are conducting, and you have 3 more weeks until your exam. But if you go for the premium package, in the upcoming 3 weeks on a weekly basis, you'd have webinars or workshops happening where we'll keep in touch with you to see whether you are headed in the correct direction or not. So you'd get one-to-one tutor support via these weekly webinars and workshops. And you can go for a monthly installment plan when you opt for the premium package. And the installment plan goes as £49 as your first installment, and the other 2 remaining installments will be £225 each. So you can make the payment in 3 monthly installments. And the premium package comes with a pass guarantee. What is a pass guarantee? If you end up failing the exam after using our premium package, you'd get access to the same material in your subsequent session free of charge. Okay, so that's the pass guarantee which we are offering. And all products are available until the 31st of August 2023. I'm not talking about the pass guarantee here. I'm just talking about general access. So even if you are planning to do your exam in August, you can invest on your preferred package now and start working. And let me also remind you about the study plan. You can access the study plan via our website itself. So we are in week number 4. You are supposed to attend the 4th webinar exam prep, which is happening right now. And by now, you should have attempted 3 mocks. If not, you're actually late. You have to start right now. You can't wait until the last moment because you have only 3 weeks to your exam. I do not want you guys to wait until the last 2 weeks to start preparations. Then you won't have enough time to attempt mock exams. Even if you attempt 5 mock exams, you won't have enough time to iron out your issues, because as per our study plan, you are supposed to attempt a mock on a week by week basis. If you do that, you have enough and more time at your hands where you can try and overcome the issues, try and improve the quality of your answers. So after receiving tutor feedback, if you feel that your answer planning technique needs to improve, you can focus on that. If you feel that your typing speed is not up to par, you can focus on that. If you feel that you lack an appropriate level of knowledge about a certain theoretical concept, then you can refer to our videos and learn via these videos. You can refer to our theory recaps and learn theory via these theory recaps. So you have to spend some time to overcome your issues. Just because you attempt 5 mock exams, you cannot pass your exam. So if you are yet to attempt any of the mocks, it's high time you do it, because we are in week number 4. You just have 3 weeks at your disposal. And after you have attempted mock number 4 via the exam platform, you'd receive tutor feedback within 48 hours. And after receiving tutor feedback, you are supposed to watch the 4 master classes conducted in lieu of mock number 4. Okay, so that's what you're supposed to do in week number 4. And week number 5 and week number 6, as you can see, closer to the exam, last week leading up to the exam, you're not supposed to attempt any mock exams as per our study plan Instead, you are simply supposed to refer to the answer plans pertaining to mocks 1 to 5. These answer plans are provided by us. You need not prepare them. It's just a matter of going through them. And you are supposed to reread the annotated pre-scene one last time and stop all work a day prior to the exam. Sleep, eat, and rest well. I'll highlight as to why you need to do this in a little while. And if you're yet to join our OCS WhatsApp group, simply click this button and join it, where we'll be sharing in the coming weeks. We'll be sharing a lot of articles as well as free material which will benefit you. Okay, so having said that, we are moving on to the second part of tonight's webinar, which is about what you need to do when it comes to developing confidence. So, as per I took you through in the first part of tonight's webinar, I took you through comments made by the examiner. And the examiner had stated that, if you have a high level of confidence before, as well as attempting your real exam, then your chances of passing the exam is extremely high. So how can you develop the required level of confidence before the exam? First things first, you need to stick to the study plan. So we have explained the study plan, and we have highlighted what you need to do on a weekly basis. You can find all the information within our website as well. I just showed you what our study plan looks like. So in order to understand how the study plan works, you are supposed to refer to the video, the recorded versions of webinar number 1 study plan, in case you missed on it. And you are supposed to refer to the study plan which we have provided within our webinar and stick to it within our website rather, and you need to stick to it. And you need to come up with a routine, because you have just 3 weeks to the exam. So there's absolutely no time to waste. So it's better to stick to a routine, because I know for a fact you are not only studying CIMA, you have to fulfill your work responsibilities, as well as you need to ensure you meet family commitments whilst studying. So it's better, if you are not sticking to a routine right now, it's better to stick to a routine at least for the upcoming 3 weeks. Okay, so you have to wake up and sleep at a specific amount period of time, or you have to wake up at a certain time and sleep at a certain time. Stick to this routine, and ensure that you get enough sleep, because you need to be relaxed before the exam. If you're not sleeping properly, if you're not eating properly, then it leads to undue stress, and this will reflect on the performance at your real exam. Because if you're stressed 3 weeks before the exam, definitely you'll be stressed at the exam. Okay, so try to stick to a routine and focus on your daily meal intake, because if you take your meals on time as a routine, then you can wake up and sleep at a specific time. Okay, so if you are finding it extremely hard to wake up and sleep properly, ensure that you stick to a daily meal intake plan, where you have your breakfast, lunch, and dinner at stipulated time periods as a routine. Then you'd fall asleep and wake up at a stipulated time as well. And when it comes to practicing mock exams, it's better to practice under simulated exam conditions, because I've seen students, when it comes to attempting mocks, they'll attempt task 1 today, task 2 tomorrow, and task 3 day after tomorrow, and likewise. But at the exam, you have to sit in one place and have a go at the entire paper within 3 hours. So when attempting your mock exams, try to replicate a real life exam situation. So the best way to do it is by using our mock exam platform, or when attempting your 5 mock exams. If you do it via the mock exam platform, you have no other option but to sit in one place and attempt your mock. Okay, then you'd get accustomed to real exam conditions. Then you'd know what type of pressure you'd feel, because it's not easy to sit in one place and keep on batting or moving forward for 3 hours at a stretch. You need to get yourself accustomed to it. Okay, so use our mock exam platform when attempting all 5 mock exams, and you have to attempt mocks in isolation without any hindrances or disturbances. You have to isolate yourself when attempting the mock, because that's exactly what you are going to do at your exam as well. And you need to stick to the exam technique routine, which we have highlighted within the 3rd webinar. So 5 minutes should be allocated towards reading the question, 15 minutes should be allocated towards developing an answer plan, and the remaining 25 minutes should be allocated towards typing your answer or expanding your answer plan. So you need to keep doing this on a task by task basis. So this needs some practice. I cannot highlight how important this is. You need to keep practicing this. So that's exactly why we need you guys to start attempting mocks right now, because several students had invested on the premium package, but none of you have only one student had actually sent us mocks. None of you, all the other students have not attempted any mocks via the exam platform. It's high time you start doing this, because you don't have enough time at your disposal. You simply have 3 weeks. So it's about time that you start attempting mock exams, because via these mock exams you will be practicing answer planning and time management technique. Okay, and what are you supposed to do, or how are you supposed to maintain confidence on the exam day? So I've highlighted what you need to do before the exam to develop confidence, but it's of utmost importance that you ensure that you maintain the same level of confidence on the day of your exam. So on the day of the exam, right before you start the exam, you need to rest your mind and body. So that's exactly why according to our study plan, I've stipulated that you need to stop preparations a day prior to the exam. You need to sleep, eat, and rest well. So let's assume your exam is on the 10th of May. If that is the case, you have to stop all your work, all your preparatory work by the 8th of May. You need to take the 9th off. You are not supposed to go through any study material, not even the answer plans, not even the pre-scene. You are supposed to relax, just be at home, or you do nothing, take a break from all your studies. Why? Because as I told you earlier, the CIMA examiner is trying to replicate a real life corporate environment. So in a real life corporate environment, if you are supposed to do your job properly, you need to have a relaxed mindset. If you didn't sleep properly, so let's assume you are walking into office on a Monday. So if you have to perform your duties properly, if you partied on Sunday, or if you didn't sleep properly on Sunday, if you didn't eat properly on Sunday, if you were under so much of stress, undue stress on Sunday, you'd sleep at office. You won't be in a position to perform your job at 100% efficiency. So the same applies to your examination. You need to relax your mindset, relax your body, as well as your mind. That's why I want you guys to stop preparations a day prior to the exam. You need to sleep, eat, and rest well. If that is the case, you'd walk into the exam with an open mind. And when you are open-minded, you'd come up with the best answer. Because remember, CIMA is a professional qualification. This is not an academic qualification. Just because you know your theory, you cannot pass this exam. So if you are to be professional, it's better to be relaxed a day prior to the exam. So that's exactly what we have inculcated within our study plan. So rest your mind and body. Do not refer to any study material, mocks, or answer plans. And think that you are the finance officer at Trax Europe. Okay, think that you are trying to assist with decision making. You are trying to make suggestions whenever your skills are required for. You are trying to make suggestions to your finance manager or some other manager, or it may be your finance director as well. So whoever it is, you are trying to give your best solution. So it's better to think that you are the finance officer at Trax Europe before you walk into the exam hall, and try to let go of any negativity, because it's normal for you to feel negative on the day of the exam. Because take it from me, I myself found it extremely on the day of the exam, I felt extremely pressurized. Why? Because this is an extremely competitive exam. Out of the 3 case studies, this is the hardest one, and CIMA exams are well known to be extremely hard. So it's normal for you to feel some type of negativity, but you need to keep reminding yourself whenever you feel down or negative, you need to keep reminding yourself that you have done your job properly. You can only say that, tell that to yourself if you had done your job. So that's exactly what I'm saying. You need to start work right now. There's only 3 weeks. If you do your job right now, if you invest time for preparations right now, you need not fear on the day of the exam. Okay, and you need to be open-minded. And how can you achieve this level of open-mindedness? By sticking to what we highlighted right now. You need to rest your mind and body. Then you would be open-minded, thereby in a position to provide really good answers. And what are you supposed to do to maintain confidence during the exam? You need to stick to the exam technique routine. So I've said you need to allocate 20 minutes for reading and answer planning and 25 minutes for typing your answers. Again, just because you know these things, or how to develop answer plans and how to manage your time, you cannot implement it on the day of the exam. If you are to implement it on the day of the exam, or if you are to stick to the exam technique routine, you need to have some type of practice. So that's exactly why I need you guys to attempt 5 mock exams, and when attempting them, stick to these exam technique routine. Then you would be in a position to replicate it without any hiccups at your real exam. And it's normal for you, for any student, to feel stressed during the exam, because out of the 4 tasks, uh, one task is going to be extremely hard. That's pretty normal, because the CIMA examiner is throwing an extremely hard ball at you with a purpose, with the intention of unsettling you. Because if you're unsettled, and if you feel the stress, or if you feel too negative when faced with a stressful situation, if you let it affect the remaining tasks, then you'd end up failing the exam. Then that indicates that you are not fit to become a finance officer within this company. Okay, so in order to ensure that you let go of any undue stress, you need to do these things. Drink some water whenever you feel stressed at the exam. Drink some water, because it's going to help you calm your nerves. And close your eyes and breathe slowly for 2 minutes. Focus on your breathing, inhaling and exhaling. Why am I suggesting this? You might think that this is a wastage of time. That is not the case, because when you are unsettled, uh, you'd be thinking through your amygdala, because there's this certain part within our brain which is known as an amygdala, which kicks in. And the amygdala, when it kicks in, it goes into panic mode. You'd get emotional. Your rational thinking part of the brain will shut down, and you'll take all emotional decisions. Okay, so you should not get emotional at the exam. You should not make rash decisions. Instead, you need to come up with rational decisions. So how are you supposed to achieve this level of rationality? Whenever you are stressed, or whenever you feel that you are headed in the wrong direction, close your eyes and breathe slowly for about 2 minutes. Then you'd shut down your amygdala. Then your rational thinking will kick in, and if that is the case, you'd come up with good answers. And you have to always, whenever you feel stressed, you can always remind yourself that you have done your homework. You can only do this if you had done your homework. So it's better to start right now. And always remind yourself that you need just 80 marks to pass the exam. So out of 150, you just need 80, which is 54%. So there's so much of marks which you can lose out, because as I told you earlier, out of the 4 tasks, one of the tasks are going to be extremely hard. Don't get all negative about it. Don't get affected by it. If there's a certain subtask which you are clueless about, just leave it, and ensure, if let's assume that there are 3 subtasks. Out of these 3 subtasks, you are clueless about the answer pertinent to one subtask. Just focus on the remaining 2 which you are comfortable with. Give your best shot, and utilizing the remaining time, try to figure out an answer for subtask 3, which is the hardest one. So you won't know answers for all subtasks. If that is the case, CIMA will be, or the operational case study examination will be extremely easy. So always remember, you are not supposed to get 150 marks out of 150. Instead, you are only supposed to get 54%. So there will be hiccups. don't let it affect you. You need to pick yourself up and keep chipping forward or keep moving forward. So when attempting our mock exams, you'd face these similar situations. So by practicing these 5 mock exams under simulated exam conditions, you'd learn from the process, you'd learn about your shortcomings, then you'd be well prepared to face these shortcomings and not be affected by them at your real exam. So during the exam, you are supposed to give your best shot and be open-minded. So these are the things which you need to do to maintain confidence on the day of the exam. And when carrying out preparations in the upcoming 3 weeks, you are supposed to avoid these deflections. Do not go through the exam blueprint because you'd be wasting your time. Instead, invest that time on attempting mock exams. Okay. And because the points which are highlighted within the exam blueprint are uh, were actually covered within the 4 webinars which we have conducted so far. So you need not go through this document. Do not rely on any predictions because I've seen tutors giving predictions about scenarios which can be tested at the exam. Absolutely no point of doing this because in a real life corporate environment, if you are the finance officer, before you walk into the office and open up your email, you won't know about the type of problem the company has faced or a type of investment decision the company is supposed to take. So it's better not to think about any predictions. Instead, simply attempt the 5 mock exams. If you do, you'd cover all theoretical elements pertaining to E1, P1, and F1, and you'd know how to apply your knowledge, apply this theory in a practical sense as well. And if you attend the master classes, you'd gain an in-depth understanding about theory as well as application based on the suggested answers of all 5 mocks. And excessive industry analysis is a killer. Simply refer to the pre-scene analysis video which we have conducted, which covers the industry dynamics. Go through the industry analysis slides which we have prepared, which I showed you a while back. All right. That is, and go through the annotated pre-scene pertaining to the industry analysis. That's all you need to know, or all the knowledge which you need to possess with regards to the industry, especially since you are playing the role of a finance officer. If you are playing the role of a senior finance manager, if you are doing SCS, you are supposed to play the role of a SFM or a senior finance manager who directly reports to board members. So in such a context, you need to have a good understanding about industry dynamics. But you remember that you are at the lowest level of the organization. You are simply reporting to your manager. You are not involved with decision making. Instead you are assisting decision makers within the organization. So there's absolutely no point of having an in-depth understanding about the industry dynamics. Simply refer to the material which we have provided. You need not worry about anything else pertaining to understanding the industry. And misguided use of past papers is a killer as well. I've seen students committing this mistake time and time again. So most students, when it comes to preparations, rather than investing on study material as well as mock exams, which are pre-scene relevant or pre-scene specific and exam standard, what they do is they'd go and check out the questions and answers of past exam variants. We at TCS, we do not recommend this because these past variants or past exam papers are based on different case studies. So the nitty-gritties or the technicalities which are highlighted within the pre-scenes in each session is totally different to another session. So in such a context, if you go through these past papers, you would be wasting your time because similar information will not be tested in your real exam because it's based on a different pre-scene. So misguided use of past papers is a killer. So if you are really serious about passing this exam, it's best to invest on pre-scene specific study material and mock exams. And information overload is a killer. In order to ensure that this never happens, we have ensured that only the relevant information are provided via our study program. And on top of that, if you stick to our study plan, it's just a matter of attempting a mock per week. You just need to find 3 hours at a stretch per week to attempt a mock. Everything else is handled by us. Even the answer plans, which are based on the suggested answers of all 5 mocks, are provided by us. So we are providing answer summaries of the suggested answers as well, with the intention of ensuring that you are not exposed to information overload, because this is a killer. Because when you are overloaded with information, it leads to brain freeze. And if you get stuck at your real exam, you'd be wasting your time, and this leads to undue pressure, and you'd end up failing the examination. Okay, so you need to avoid all these deflections if you have to pass your exam. And some of you might be attempting the exam at home. So if that is the case, refer to the CIMA exam information page, a day or two before your exam. So go to this link and read the content thoroughly before the exam. I do not, if you're attempting your exam on the 10th of May, I do not want you to do it on the 10th. It's better to do it on a week before, or 2 or 3 days before your examination. So read through the content and try out the CIMA exam platform by following the guidelines to get a good understanding about how the exam platform works, because these technical nitty-gritties are important. Don't do it on the day of the exam, because when you try to do it, if the system gets stuck, then that leads to undue pressure. I've gotten calls from students who are crying at the other end of the phone, saying that the exam platform is not working. And once I asked them why they didn't check it before the exam, they end up repenting at the end of the day. So rather than facing all these hindrances or issues, it's better to get yourself accustomed to all these accustomed with all these technical nitty-gritties a day or two before your exam. All right, so any questions, guys, before we wind up? I've covered all areas. So any questions before we wind up? Any issues which we have faced so far? All right, so seems like there aren't any questions. So I'm gonna wind up the session. So if you want to contact us, you can do so via our website, which is www.study@tcs.com, or simply email us on info@study@tcs.com, or you can drop me a message via this WhatsApp number as well. And I invite you guys to follow our social media pages, where we'll be sharing our study material, and check out our blog by logging onto our website and click on this button. And in order to get an in-depth understanding about technical details pertaining to your exam. So I invite you guys to do it. And I hope that you would have checked out our TikTok videos which we have developed, which summarizes the entire pre-scene within 9 minutes. So keep watching these TikTok videos on a daily basis until your exam, so that you can easily remember the main information or the main points which are highlighted within the pre-scene. So all these things are provided free of charge, with the intention of ensuring that you pass your examination, even if you do not invest on our study material. Even if you go with study material of a competitor, we are totally fine. We are offering these services with the intention of ensuring that you pass this exam comfortably. So having said that, it brings us to the end of tonight's webinar. So thank you very much for joining in. And if you had not invested on any of our packages, this will be the last webinar which is available for you. And in the upcoming 3 weeks, on a weekly basis, we'll be conducting webinars as well as workshops, thereby keeping keeping touch with our students and keeping track of their performance. So having said that, I wish you all the very best. Do your you have 3 weeks at your disposal. Get your act together, start preparations now itself. Do not wait until the last moment. Try to develop a high level of confidence before the exam. In order for you to do that, you need to start work right now. So I cannot highlight how important it is for you to start attempting mocks right now. Do it, and if so, you'd gain really good marks at your exam. So all the very best, and keep in touch. If there are any type of help which you need, please drop us a message via our WhatsApp group. Thank you very much. and good night.